The deeper you look at these numbers, the clearer it becomes that this moment was never really about basketball at all. This was a business reckoning disguised as a sports headline, and for some people, that reality hit like a freight train. Caitlin Clark's placement on Sportico's list wasn't just impressive, it was disruptive. $16.1 million in an injury-riddled season shattered every comfortable narrative the league had been trying to maintain about value, hierarchy, and who truly moves the needle. It forced an uncomfortable question into the open, one the WNBA has spent years dancing around. If popularity, reach, and revenue generation matter, then the scoreboard looks nothing like the one some veterans expected. Clark's rise exposes a fundamental truth about modern sports economics. Performance matters, but connection matters more. Winning championships is important, but commanding attention is priceless. Clark managed to build a brand that thrives even when she's not on the court, something very few athletes, male or female, ever achieve. She didn't need to be visible every night to remain relevant. Her presence lingered in highlight packages, endorsement campaigns, corporate events, and mainstream media conversations that extended far beyond the WNBA ecosystem. That's why a season with just 13 games played still resulted in a massive financial leap. Her value was never tied exclusively to minutes played. It was tied to impact. For Wilson, that reality cuts deep because it dismantles the argument she's leaned on for years. The idea that dominance within the league automatically translates to dominance outside of it simply doesn't hold up anymore. Corporations don't operate on sentiment or legacy. They operate on reach, safety, and return on investment. Clark delivers all three. She brings in new audiences who weren't watching women's basketball before. She makes brands feel safe aligning with her image. And she generates measurable results that marketing teams can point to in boardrooms without hesitation. That combination is rare, and it's why the money keeps flowing in her direction. What makes this situation even more striking is how Clark's success highlights the cost of negativity in the modern sports landscape. Every public complaint, every thinly veiled jab, every attempt to frame someone else's success as undeserved chips away at trust. Brands notice patterns long before fans do. They see how athletes handle being overshadowed. They watch how they respond to adversity. They evaluate whether someone elevates conversations or drags them into controversy. Clark consistently chose the former. Wilson, time and time again, chose the latter. This isn't about race, favoritism, or conspiracy. It's about strategy and self-awareness. Clark positioned herself as a bridge, not a wedge. She made herself accessible without being divisive, competitive without being combative, confident without being resentful. That's why she appears at business conferences, golf tournaments, and leadership summits. She fits seamlessly into environments that have nothing to do with basketball because her story transcends the sport. Wilson never built that bridge. Instead, she narrowed her lane until basketball was the only place her brand could exist, and even there, it became increasingly defined by grievance rather than growth. The irony is that Wilson had every opportunity to chart a different course. With her accolades, her championships, and her on-court resume, she could have built a powerful, positive brand rooted in excellence and leadership. Instead, she allowed comparison to consume her. Every time Clark broke a record, every time a headline tilted in someone else's favor, Wilson responded not by expanding her own influence, but by trying to diminish Clark's. That approach doesn't elevate anyone. It only reinforces the very gap she claims shouldn't exist. Clark's endorsement portfolio tells a story that's impossible to ignore. These companies aren't betting on hype. They're investing in proven market expansion. Nike didn't hand out a historic deal on a whim. Gatorade didn't attach its image to Clark without extensive data. State Farm didn't put her in front of families nationwide because she happened to be trending. These decisions were calculated, conservative, and grounded in results. Clark doesn't just sell jerseys. She sells belief. Belief that women's basketball can be mainstream. Belief that female athletes can anchor billion-dollar brands. Belief that positivity still has value in a sports culture addicted to outrage. Meanwhile, the silence from Wilson following the release of Sportico's list speaks volumes. For someone who rarely misses an opportunity to comment, the absence feels heavy. It suggests a realization, perhaps an uncomfortable one, that the numbers are no longer debatable. You can argue opinions, but you can't argue earnings. You can challenge narratives, but you can't rewrite balance sheets. And when the data is laid bare, It tells a story that doesn't flatter resentment. This moment also forces the league itself into an awkward position. For years, marketing efforts pushed a version of stardom that didn't align with audience behavior. Clark's financial dominance exposes the disconnect between internal promotion and external demand. Fans voted with their attention. Sponsors followed with their wallets. And suddenly, the conversation about who the face of women's basketball stopped being philosophical and became factual. It's not about who should be the face. It's about who already is. Clark didn't take anything from Wilson. She didn't steal opportunities or sabotage anyone's career. She simply built something bigger. And in doing so, she revealed how fragile some egos become when success isn't evenly distributed. The business world doesn't reward entitlement. It rewards value creation. Clark created value on a scale the WNBA had never seen before, and the financial outcomes reflect that reality in the clearest terms possible. As this gap continues to widen, the choices ahead become stark. One path leads to adaptation, growth, and recalibration. The other leads to bitterness, excuses, and irrelevance. Clark chose expansion. Wilson chose resistance. And the market responded accordingly. This wasn't a fluke year. This was a signal. A signal that the era of manufactured narratives is over, and the era of measurable impact has arrived. Now the question shifts to you. What do you think this list really says about the future of women's basketball? Is the league ready to embrace what fans and sponsors are clearly responding to, or will it continue pushing narratives that don't match reality? Drop your thoughts below and let me know whether you think this gap was inevitable or avoidable. If you want more deep dives into the business side of sports, the power struggles behind the headlines, and the stories no one else is breaking down like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.